What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, it's your boy D. I'm here with my crazy partner T, and this is Saturday Morning Traffic, the greatest podcast, not the latest podcast. It's been a minute since we've done an episode, but we are human. We do the other things outside of this. So if you want us to make this our full-time job, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, dislike. Comment, like I said earlier, let our haters be our motivators. You guys know the slogan.
All day.
Into it. But I know you guys are pretty familiar with Dr. Ortiz. We got him in the building today. You know what I'm saying? Jesus with a basketball. You know what I'm saying? Not only is he out here getting folks baptized, you know what I'm saying? He's also schooling fools on the court. You know what I mean? He's got a mean cross-up, and he's got a cold-ass prayer. So I want y'all to give a big round of applause for my man, Dr. Ortiz.
D. His passing, though, is his best attribute, bro. His passing. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm telling you, man. He's out there looking like John Stockton with a cross on his neck. You feel me? But, yeah, man, just, show some love to my man, Dr. Ortiz. Today should be a real great episode. Get that energy and that chemistry back. You feel me, man?
All right. And what we're going over today is we're reviewing what all the postseason for the NBA, the news, the rumors, what has happened since the postseason, the NBA Finals finalized, right? This earlier this month, and then we're going over the rookies. Who's going to get drafted by who?
We talking about everything.
Everything is a must go. All right, so let's
everything. You gotta say it like that, Tony.
Oh, everything. All right,
No. Nah, bro. It's everything. Everything. With a bunch of R's. There you go. See, you got it. Everything.
Like this?
Talking about everything, man.
Everything. Like that?
Everything. No, you never do that. Don't ever do that. If you have any other black friends, don't ever do that. Because they don't ever do that.
All right, how about we just skip? Let's just skip and get Dr. Ortiz in here. Let's do that. All right.
Let's get him on in here, man.
All right. I would love to introduce Mr. Ortiz.
Woo! Hey, what's going on, guys? Always glad to be able to be with you guys. It's been a while. And my Lakers won their championship, so I'm doing good.
Same thing with the Dodgers.
We're not talking about the Dodgers.
So,
LA, baby.
That's right.
What you been up to?
There we go. LA, baby.
Just been gyms are courts and the gyms are still closed, so you're not playing ball in the gym, but been doing a lot of street ball. Yeah. Been busy with the church work. We've been giving food to our local food bank. I think we just tallied. We gave in the past 6 months almost $30,000 worth of food.
Awesome.
To our local food bank.
Awesome.
I've been just with the family and different things. Watching sports.
The bubble watch.
That's right. Watching everyone complain about how bad it was living in an incredible hotel and having all their food catered into them.
All right. Well, let's talk about the bubble. Let's talk about the NBA playoffs. What was your a thought of going? The season obviously shut down. Then it came back, and then they went to the bubble. In the bubble, they didn't have one case of COVID, I believe. And then the fact that, it almost got shut down during the bubble because the players voted because for obvious reasons with everything going on of the crime, dying for no reason, right? So what is your thoughts of it finishing with no COVID cases?
I think that's a tribute. Yeah, I think that's a tribute to the leadership in the NBA. One thing that I think Adam Silver does really well is he caters to the current situation that we're in. Understanding that we're in the pandemic and there was a kind of it's kind of empty. There's no new movies. There's no baseball. There's no football. There's no basketball. Nothing's happening. And he figured out a way to get sports back on TV. Now, that being said, he was able to keep COVID out, but he also kind of kept a lot of viewers out too. I think it was kind of a catch-22 with, allowing each player to be able to represent the cause that they wanted to speak on, but it almost made it, for some people, they didn't want to have to listen to the news and hear the cause and then watch sports and see the cause there too. It was just, it became too much. But overall, I do got to say this, Adam Silver did an incredible job with the bubble. And it wasn't a perfect situation, but it was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think he adapted the right way. It was one of the lowest viewing finals ever. But like what you said, because people just, not agreeing with putting on the back, but at the end of the day, we live in a free country. We have freedom of speech. We can say what we want, right? And that's what's great about living here, right? What about the whole playoffs? Because I think this was one of the most competitive playoffs we've seen in actually a very long time. Like the play. What did you think about the play?
Honestly, here's what it did, and I've heard a lot of people say that this bubble season should have an asterisk on it because it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same, but also it wasn't the same for everyone. So it was even playing ground. And the great thing about it was everyone was home and away.
Yeah.
So it allowed for role players to play more comfortably, and the superstars to play like how superstars are supposed to play. And it was really great in that instance, and it created an interesting dynamic. Like we begin to see teams that would be really good at home and not so good away begin to put together some strings of playing. I think of Utah in particular. Utah, they play really well at home, but when you take them out of their element, some of their role players start to break a little bit. And now we got to see Utah be a little bit more consistent in how they played. Even as you look at Denver as well.
Yeah, that's how
Denver. Now, all those young players really thrived in this kind of like pickup ball type basketball. It was like, okay, I'm playing. I don't have to worry about the fans watching me. I don't have to worry about being heckled. I don't have to worry about, all the other stuff that kind of gets in the way of basketball sometimes. And it allowed for those young studs to kind of really show what they can do. And it was really interesting because it almost leveled out the playing field against some of the tougher teams like a Clippers. The Clippers, we all saw the Clippers as being a stacked team. But
man.
And I'm not coming in to slap him in the face right away, but I think they do kind of need a slap here. What we saw with Denver.
A Lakers fan? No.
What we saw from Denver was that while they don't have the name recognition like the Clippers, they definitely had some dogs like the Clippers did.
Oh, for sure.
And the bubble really really highlighted that a lot. And you're going to see Denver play with a swag next year. That's going to, whether they have a bubble again or whether they go to minimized attendance or whatever, but you're going to see them play with a swag like never before, because they were able to do something that no one thought that they could do. And the bubble really highlighted that. As far as the Clippers go, the Clippers.
Disappointment. That's what comes to mind.
Honestly, I don't think they were a disappointment. I think everything kind of compiled on them. I don't think Kawhi is as healthy as everyone says he is. I don't think Paul George is as big of a star as he thinks he is.
13%?
Yeah, they don't really have a good point guard. I mean, They were lacking a really solid big man. They had a lot of good parts, just not a lot of complementary parts. And that's where Denver kind of picked them apart. And really the interesting thing was they lost in defense. It wasn't their offense, it was their defense. Their defense allowed Denver just to destroy them.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw.
What did you see, D? What did you see?
Well, first, I want to give a big congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers and the LA Dodgers for both winning the championship this year during these hectic, pressing times.
Yeah.
Second, as far as like, like the bubble and, getting no cases, I think like, Dr. Ortiz said, I think that's a big nod to Adam Silver. Like, for you to come up with this plan within a short amount of time and have it go A++. The star, the face of the NBA wins a championship. We get to see all these, like he said, like these younger dudes like really sprout and really show what they got, because I think of it as, Jamal Murray is a good example. Everybody knows, we knew he was good. Like he's like one of those guys like you see just gradually pass through the NBA. He might end up on he'll probably be on 2 or 3 teams before his career's over. And then end up like, maybe a J.R. Smith, obviously less Hennessy and weed smoking. But, like J.R. Smith, just kind of doing his thing, I'm on a team, I'm going to play my role. Like Amon I'll take that back, not J.R. Smith, more like Amon Shumpert. Like, if I'm on a team, I'm going to give him my all. If I'm not on a team, I'm going to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? And you get to see, he shined, and he blossomed. Nikola Jokic, he came back from that weight loss and was incredible. And to me, honestly, after LeBron, after AD, Jokic is number 3 to me as far as the performance goes in the bubble. No, and then after that, I'd say Jimmy Butler. But what Jokic was doing out there was ridiculous. He was just like nobody's seen that. Everybody counted him out for like the last 2-3 years since he's been with Denver, basically. So for him to shine like that just goes to show that. If we have another 72 games, like you said, whether it be reduced attendance or they find a big enough place to where they can house, all 30, some odd teams in the NBA in a, confined space, hey, I'm excited for it, because that's some of the best basketball I've seen since the 2014 finals or the 2015 when the Cleveland played Golden State. That's the last time I really felt like I saw a good final.
7.
And and people saying, the whole asterisk thing, like, if you want to say this is a bubble, a Disney Plus championship or a COVID championship, I want you to go look at when the Spurs won during the lockout season. That deserves an asterisk. Or when
Miami,
I think it was the Bulls. I think Miami, or when the Bulls played when Michael Jordan played the Bulls and Byron Scott and all those other guys were injured. I mean, there's so many championships. If you really wanted to get technical, you could put an asterisk by Toronto when they played Golden State, the wounded Warriors. You could put an asterisk by them. So the asterisk is just another way to just try to take LeBron down from where he's already at. He's been in the NBA 17 years. He's got 4 championships. He's not on much. He as far as like accolades go, he's not on Michael Jordan's level. As far as playing goes, you can have that conversation, but there's no need to compare the two because there's no point.
Right.
What else was I gonna say? What was the last thing Dr. Ortiz was talking about?
The Clippers.
The Clippers. Oh, the reason why the Clippers failed is because they don't have a lead. They don't have a leader. They don't poor team chemistry, and they don't have a leader. Kawhi Leonard is not a leader. Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant are, personality-wise, aside from Kevin Durant clearly talks more, are the same person to me. Kevin Durant doesn't want to be a leader. He just wants to play basketball. Kawhi Leonard doesn't want to be a leader. He just wants to play basketball. But you also want the privileges that come with it. You can't just because you won a championship the first year you were with the team, by God's grace. Because we all know there was plenty of times where the Toronto Raptors could have lost. Just because you were the best player on a team that was already, pretty good before you got there, doesn't make you automatically compared to LeBron. And this is more of a reason why. To me, that's the difference between him and LeBron. LeBron's a leader. No matter what's going on in that team, we all got to be on the same page. And that's why the Lakers ultimately won, because of team chemistry and leadership. Yeah. Paul George is supposedly the second best player on the LA Clippers. What happened? Yeah. Kawhi Leonard he's the big bad wolf. What happened? At one point, he was the only person literally giving a shit on the court. And it's like, there's no team chemistry. The Clippers didn't already want to be in the bubble. They got talked into it, and they had to sit down and finally agreed to it. Fucking Lemon Pepper Lou decided to just go off to the strip club. Montrezl Harrell,
But to be fair, those wings are amazing. Just to be fair.
Ain't no wings. Wings taste better after a championship. All right. Wings taste better after a championship. That's how I look at it. I like to put some championship sauce on my championship wings and look at some championship strippers while I drink my championship beer. So I want to feel like a champion. That's all I'm saying. And you fumble that opportunity. Now we got Doc Rivers got fired, which I'm perfectly fine with, because he's been riding the coattails of that 2008 championship for God knows how long. And I feel like he's a good coach, but I think he's extremely overrated in that sense. Them getting Tyronn Lue. No, not Tyronn Lue. They got
They
did they get Tyronn Lue? They did get Tyronn Lue.
Tyronn Lue was the assistant coach, and he just got promoted and got that 4 years.
Well, there you go. They got Tyronn Lue, which I feel is a better coach.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue will get in your face. Like my theory was, like I was saying, I thought it was one of the best basketball I've seen for a while, competitively. And then just going back to the Clippers, Harrell wasn't. For the first, couple weeks, whatever it was, because he had to quarantine, then Lou and all that. But my thing is, like, what makes it worse is if Dallas was actually healthy and Porzingis didn't get injured, they, played all the games, they potentially could have lost in the first round. I think they would have went to 7. I do think the Clippers probably would have, with the experience, got through. But a first-round match in 7, But my thing is, you saw why it's not a good idea to sit out games. If you don't have to sit out games, don't do it, because of the chemistry killer, right?
It's not just that. It's not just that. It's more than just sitting out games. Like I said, you set the bar this high, and you were so worried about playing the Lakers that you didn't even bother to study any other team.
Yeah.
That's like me. That's like, I'm so good at cooking. Like, I love to cook fried chicken. That's my favorite thing to do. I feel like I cook the best fried chicken in the world. But if I cook the best fried chicken in the world, and I'm like, well, do you want sides? And I'm like, okay, I got mac and cheese. I got collard greens. And you taste the mac and cheese and the collard greens, and they taste like shit. It ruins the whole meal. So it's like, Kawhi's the fried chicken, Paul George is the mac and cheese, and the rest of the team is the collard greens. It's like, you really only care about the fried chicken because it tastes the best. Like, everybody just, like, he got catered to. Oh, we need a point guard. They had a conversation with the whole team, and he had a chance to keep Doc Rivers with the LA Clippers, and ultimately decided for him he left because it was a team decision. They all had a say on whether Doc Rivers was going to stay or not.
Well, Doc Rivers has been there. All right, here's the thing, man. All right, going back to the Clippers, like, Doc Rivers is a decent coach, but he's been riding, like you said, that 2008 tile for too long. He should have been gone 2-3 years ago. That's my belief. Okay? So now with the chemistry-wise, that's what killed them. But you can't all put this all on Kawhi Leonard. You are paying
Nope.
No, listen. You're paying Paul George all his money. You traded like 6 draft picks and a couple players, a future point guard, your future point guard.
Guards.
Jokic Alexander, who's going to eventually be an all-star. You trade them for Paul George to average like 8 to 10 points a game in the playoffs, okay? Paul George has got to take accountability in that area. You got to show up.
Yeah, but but what about this? You said you can't put it all on Kawhi. But if the Lakers would have lost, where would everyone be pointing the finger at? They'd be pointing at LeBron. And
I know, but what I'm
came,
saying is it sounds like a lot of people are putting it all on Kawhi, where if
because it all belongs on him.
My point exactly.
What I'm
My
saying,
point exactly.
no, hold on.
Because let it be.
D, hold on. What I'm saying, it wouldn't all go on LeBron. Most of it will go on LeBron. I would say it would be a 60-40 because AD, that's his team. LeBron's the leader, but that's AD's team. We all know watching the playoffs, AD was the best player.
Until about that.
No. I'm saying in the West, once it came finals time, I think LeBron took it into a higher gear, and I mean, you saw the triple doubles. But what I'm saying is, think about without AD, what the Lakers were.
Well, yeah, of course. But if we're going to be honest, Paul George, AD, while they are two incredible players,
They're not close.
on a team, they are role players. They are the second man. A second man is a role player. He plays a role as the second guy. He is the backup to the leader. But everyone says this is LeBron's team. This is Kawhi's team. Kawhi came to LA and he had his little commercial where he had his little crown hanging from the car. He came there to be the king, and he couldn't even make it into the Western Conference Finals. And that
what I'm not saying is
that's where it sits on him.
I understand that part. You're the main guy. LeBron's the main guy. But at the end of the day, you both are getting max contracts.
That has zero to do with criticism.
No, it has everything to do with it. Listen.
No,
like,
it does not.
no.
It has money has zero to do with
You guys
criticism, bro.
you guys are letting Paul George off the hook. Like
We're
that's
not. Paul George is trash too.
you are saying. Kawhi Leonard is the only one who actually showed up for the Clippers, consistent.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Me and Dr. Ortiz are
Put Paul George accountable. You cannot
we're
shoot
holding
2 for 18, 3 for 16, 4 for 22. You can't do that.
But if you're looking at contracts, and because your contract dictates that you need to have some of this blame, okay, Chris Paul is the second most paid NBA player in the league in 2020, making $38.5 million.
I want to hold you right there. Okay, now let me ask you, where would the Thunder be without Chris Paul this year? Would they make
not in the playoffs.
would they be a 5 seed?
They wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you can't just look at money, because if we're looking at money, Chris Paul should have won a championship. Now, Steph Curry is the highest paid NBA player in the league right now. He was injured. But Chris Paul, if you're looking at contracts, that man should have won the championship this year, because he's making 38.5. Russell Westbrook and James Harden both making nearly $38 million this year. This year. They're making more than LeBron James. LeBron James is on this list with 37. Now, that LeBron James, he made up for every dollar that he was paid, because while he wasn't the big man during the year, he let AD do his role and take over the games. It was all about LeBron in the finals.
That's all that mattered.
He saved himself in Denver, and when Jamal Murray started getting all crazy and they had no answer, what was the answer? LeBron. When they're in Miami, or when they're playing Miami, and Miami started getting a little chippy and started playing like maybe they had a chance, what was the answer? LeBron. But you rewind that and you look at Kawhi. When Jamal Murray started going crazy and started shooting all like he couldn't be stopped, who should have been the answer? Kawhi. The defense, Mr. Defense, the Claw.
3-1. They should have won that series, no doubt.
The Claw had dull nails. All I'm saying is, I know it's Kawhi's team.
I just hearing a lot of people speak about how it's all Kawhi's fault. I just wish. Well, I guess I don't mean to be like this, but it's just I just wish people would have Paul George. There should be more accountability toward Paul George. That's all I'm saying.
You're right. Paul George played.
Like, that's what I'm really
he
saying.
he wasn't playoff P. He was pandemic P.
No,
he was trash.
He was like D-League P. That's what he was.
Porta potty P. Porta potty P. Because he was boo-boo.
I'm talking about. That's why I brought up the contract. It wasn't comparing other contracts. Oh, yeah, Chris Paul's contract, all that. What I was saying is you're not living up to your contract because your contract is for what you got paid for was playoff P, playoff basketball. That's where you make your money and get contracts is in the playoffs. That's every sport. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you look at the history. You look at the history of Paul George. His playoff performances have never been really good.
He stopped being good after Indiana. He's been trash since he left Indiana. He's had shiny moments. Don't get me wrong. He's been trash since he left Indiana. But back to what the whole Kawhi LeBron thing, bro. That's the main reason why I dislike the Clippers, because I feel like anytime they lose, Kawhi's protected from criticism, and it's been like that his whole career. Anytime any player has a shiny moment against LeBron James, for whatever reason, they're protected from criticism their whole entire career. It's like a scapegoat. Oh, JJ Barea locked down LeBron when the Dallas Mavericks played the Miami Heat. Oh my God, we'll never hear the end of it, no matter what. You can't. It's a constant goalpost move for LeBron, no matter what. And whoever's on the other side of that goalpost, they're protected from it every time. Kawhi Leonard played like shit. That's the end result. Paul George played like shit. The Clippers played like shit. They didn't want to be there. So he deserves every form of criticism that he's getting right now, because apparently this is his city. He's the so-called king. He's the best player in the league. He's the number 2 guy. He's better than LeBron. So if you're better than LeBron, you should be able to handle the criticism just like he does. He's been in the NBA 17 years, and no matter how many champions, he can get 14 championships, and there's going to be something to say about every single one of them. Let's be realistic. And that's all I'm saying. He fell short. So whatever criticism he's getting, he deserves it.
Let's see. Hold on.
And, one thing that I love, I was very skeptical about LeBron coming to the Lakers, honestly, because I really didn't want him. And I'll be quite honest, I made the mistake. I thought I want Paul George instead of LeBron, because I thought Paul George emulated Kobe, and he would fit into the team with all the young guys, and he's younger. I thought maybe it would be a good transition to get him in there. I made that mistake. One thing that I do like about LeBron is that he came in. Now, last year he got hurt. That's the first time in his whole career that he was not, what we know as LeBron.
Right by the nuts too.
Yeah. But this year he came back, and he came back strong, and he didn't try to do too much. He took on that point guard position pretty much, and he was he controlled the offense. He stepped up on his defense. He was it was like LeBron 5 years ago, and it was really impressive to watch. I had to give my kudos to LeBron on that.
Yeah,
but
I think that
my issue is Kawhi played well in the playoffs.
Yes.
However,
not enough.
He did not play like the best player. He did not play like an MVP. He did not play like he had any swag. There was something missing, and Paul George being the second man, it's he didn't step up either. Doc Rivers is overrated as a coach, and so is Tyronn Lue. I think they kind of made a lateral move there, putting Tyronn Lue in there. I think he's overrated. The big issue for the Clippers was personnel. They needed a point guard to manage that team. They needed a big man to slow them down when they were getting all out of control. They just needed some complementary pieces. And on the other side, you had the Lakers, who everyone thought this team can't mesh together. How are they going to work with all these weird, role players that are there? The role players, I'll tell you this.
Played their role.
they none of them were spectacular, but they all played
I
their
don't know.
role.
Rondo was pretty wild.
Okay, Rondo was great the last two series. He was, and the whole playoffs he was good, but those last two series he played like old Rondo. But really, I mean, Kuzma was kind of here and there.
He's gonna get traded. He's getting traded.
KCP, he couldn't find a bucket for the first few series.
Last two series, he showed up.
Yeah, he did finally show up. Then you had what's his name? Our 3-point specialist who couldn't hit a 3-pointer if his life depended on it.
Danny Red.
Yeah,
Danny Red.
Man, he needs to retire. He was just not good at all.
Hey, Devon, I want to point real quick on Danny Green. That's another player who is writing a playoff performance from years ago, and he's still getting those contracts. That was when he was with the Spurs, and he made those, what was it, like a ridiculous amount of threes in one game or whatever.
Yeah, like 9 or 10 threes.
Yeah, and he's been riding that for the last 6 years.
He trash.
So that's why.
Yeah, but to the victor comes the spoils, and you win a championship like that, some of that's due. You see a lot of that. I mean, look at Kawhi. We immediately made Kawhi the best player in the league last year simply because he won, in a team that was already a powerhouse in the East. They just added a great piece to what they already had, and they won the championship. And clearly we see he's not the best player in the league. I probably wouldn't even put him the 5th best player in the league, honestly.
I had him as a top 5 player.
I have him 6th right now.
Yeah, I probably
he's like 8 or 9 for me.
6th or 7th for me. Here's the thing.
8 or 9.
Even the Clippers had, a bad showing, I would call it. I don't even think that they had the worst showing. I think the Milwaukee Bucks had a worse showing in a weaker conference. When you have the best record in the league, you have the MVP, you have the Defensive Player of the Year, which I actually thought should have went to Anthony Davis for Defensive Player of the Year. And you almost got swept by the Miami Heat in the second round. What are you guys on Milwaukee? Because you cannot get him off the hook either.
No. They finna get these jokes too. Honestly, the more I watch Giannis, the more I pay attention to his game. He's extremely one-dimensional.
Yeah.
His game is not versatile at all, and the only and I'm saying that to say you can tell he started playing basketball at 13. He has no real fundamentals. He just goes to the hole every time. His game is really predictable. So it's like when you see him do something extraordinary, like I said, the shiny moments, you see him have his moments, yeah, that's cool. But deserving of MVP, I still to this day don't understand how he won 2 times in a row. I still don't understand. I don't think he's deserving of MVP. I'd give it. I feel like it should have been Luka. Luka should have won MVP this year. Or honestly, I feel like LeBron should have won it. But if it wasn't LeBron, it definitely should have went to Luka. And if last year, I don't think he should have won it either.
LeBron's numbers wasn't MVP caliber.
It doesn't matter. We're not talking about numbers.
If you're gonna give a Laker an MVP, it should have been Anthony Davis if one of them gets it.
I can understand that too, but I don't think Giannis should have won MVP either year.
Numbers is just numbers, not other factors like with the playoff run of leadership and all that. Just numbers.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying.
Well, Giannis is an incredible player in season. When everything is fast, the teams are constantly in flux. They're moving from this team to this team to this team to this team. They're, it makes it very difficult to game plan for him for one game. The difference is in a playoff series is you can zone in a little bit more, and the ball is slowed down. It's not as you're not fast break centric, and when the game slows down, Giannis isn't the same player, and because he doesn't have a jump shot, or he doesn't have a great jump shot. Now I know he's working on it, but it's not that great.
Done better.
He's really reliant on that long stride that he takes to the basket, and when you pack the middle, he just can't move there.
He has very low basketball IQ. He doesn't have very high basketball IQ.
He's strong. But there are other strong players in this league that can handle him on a if you're going to team up on him, there's other players that can build their strength around him. And so Giannis, what we found from him is that he can be a number one piece, but he has to be a number one piece like Shaq was a number one piece.
Yeah.
There's got to be another guy that is feeding him. There has to be another guy that is diverting the attention away from him a little bit.
Well, let me ask you this, Demal.
Yeah.
Let's lead into the next aspect of, is he resigning? Because in 3 years, no, listen. So I think it's 2 years, 2 or 3 years, they get that new TV deal. So that means there's no reason to sign a max contract because you're going to lose out on all that money. So does he stay? He has 1 year left, or does he do like what LeBron did, like a 2-year deal with the opt out on the second year? Do you do that?
I honestly don't think he's going to stay. I believe, honestly, if he was smart, he would go to an up and coming team in the East. Maybe imagine him on Boston. Imagine him, and I know we're going to talk about trades and different things like that, and I know Milwaukee is not going to want to trade him for anything. But imagine him on Boston, or imagine him paired up with Butler. With Jimmy Butler.
I can see Miami. Another one rumor is that potentially Dallas.
Yeah, it would be amazing if he was on Dallas or even Golden State, but those are pipe dreams. That's not going to happen. I think after what happened with Kevin Durant going to Golden State, I don't think we're going to see very much of that. That type of team.
Not the same situation though.
I know it's not the same situation, but I don't think we're going to see teams stack like that.
I don't think they'll give me as much backlash. He won't get. Here's the thing. They lost in the first round, right? Dallas did. They're up and coming.
I don't think it's necessarily about I don't think it's just a backlash. Like, till the as an NBA fan, just as a basketball fan, Kevin Durant's never going to shut up. He's always going to have an excuse as to why he went to the Warriors. We already know why you went. You went because you wanted to get your rings. You don't have to keep telling us, oh, well, LeBron did it. No, LeBron didn't do the same thing either. He didn't do the same thing at all. But anyways, as far as that's concerned, like anybody going to the Golden State Warriors, you're going to deal with what Kevin Durant did. It doesn't matter who it is. If you're a star, if you're an all-star, superstar player, you're going to hear it. If somebody like Giannis goes to the Warriors, oh, you're doing what KD did. KD ruined it for anybody going to the Warriors. Anybody. That's of his that's of Giannis's caliber, no matter who it is. But if he goes to the Heat, I think that'll be dope. I could definitely see that. If he goes to the Mavericks, that'll be dope. It will make sense. But I think the biggest thing if he was to go to the Mavericks, they would have to really work on that team chemistry. I think that would be a big factor in that because a lot of people want an all-star stack on teams, but you have to understand all-star teams don't last very long. Like for the Bulls to get 2 3-peats, that's not easy. because that's a lot of egos in one locker room.
In 8 years.
And people forget. Yeah, people forget that. These guys, just because you're doing your little fantasy draft, they're still human beings. They're still people. They still have egos, personalities, and things of that nature. So you also have to add in that factor. But I think if he goes to any team, I think the best team for him to go to that would make the most sense to me, and everybody's going to be surprised probably. I think you should go to Denver. I think you should go to Denver.
No.
Honestly, I've got a kind of a surprise.
Okay. I had to use that right there. Okay. My thing is, what I've been reading and hearing, obviously it's just rumors, it's speculation, and all that good stuff that we love to hear, right? Because Dallas is such an international, it can basically be an international team. And the chemistry he actually has with some of the players already on that team, that's why it's one of the favorites. And it can work. Yes, Luka needs the ball. Like, that's just what it is, right? That's one of those players that just will always have the ball, right? Like a James Harden and all that. But Porzingis doesn't necessarily need the ball. He's a pick and pop player. He's not a physical guy. He's starting to, but think about that type of defensive team that Dallas would now have if they do that with the offense. Like that, I think that's a good fit. But to be honest, I think the perfect fit is Miami, though. To actually have Pat Riley just what he expects from you. And I think that'll make Giannis just even become a better player. Like with Butler, expecting that as well. Everything is hard work. I think that would be better to stay in the East, but I could also see him going to the West too.
Well, maybe I can blow your mind a little bit, because I was thinking about this, and I've not heard anybody really say it, but imagine him.
Portland?
Imagine him in Phoenix with Booker.
Woo! That'll be nice. Kelly Oubre,
Booker, and him.
Kelly Oubre.
Okay, bro. He might be thinking right now. Who knows?
Now, I don't think I haven't heard anyone mention that. But imagine Booker with a legitimate guy that he can pass the ball to, and that can pull the defense away from him. Imagine that.
I like it, but it'll never happen.
Hold on. That's like Steve Nash playing with the prime Shaq. That's basically what that is. That's Steve Nash playing with a prime Shaq. And you got Kelly Oubre, and you got what's his name? DeAndre Ayton. Is it DeAndre Ayton?
Yeah.
He's another rising star. He's crazy on the defense. That'll be crazy. You know what? Honestly, I could honestly see that happening.
I look at the front office and what Phoenix has done since Steve Nash. Oh wait, it's been nothing. I forgot. They passed up on all these.
Perfect place to go to.
Think about it. Think about you literally take DeAndre Ayton when in the same backcourt. It should be Luka and Booker in the same damn backcourt. That's what it should be. But you gave up on.
They've definitely made their mistakes, and they're definitely one of the poorer. They're one of the poorer franchises as far as a mental trust goes there. Yeah. But if they want to keep Booker, or if they want to have
4 more years, He saw like 4 years on his contract because he signed.
Yeah, but still, Booker has been fed up for the last 2 years because they're not doing anything for him. If they want to keep Booker happy, which they need to because he's selling tickets, he's selling merch, they're going to need to get him a player to go along with it. And I'm just saying, if Phoenix wants to immediately become viable,
yeah.
They put a deal together, put something together, start wooing it. Whatever you have to do, but that would be an incredible team. I don't see another team that has the firepower to be able to handle a Phoenix like
I
that.
don't think financially it can't happen. I would love to see it happen, but I know it never will. Would be Giannis with in Portland, like that. He would make them instantly a better defensive team for obvious reasons. But offensively, right, they would have to give up one of the two. So it just financially it wouldn't work. But I want to go.
They're going to give up one. I'm pretty sure they're going to give up. What's his name?
They're not giving up Dame.
TJ McCollum.
Yeah, they're going to give up McCollum this season. I'm pretty sure of it.
Well, let's go to the trade block. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a name that keeps coming up. I mean, multiple teams are talking about it, and that's Bradley Beal. What is your take, and where do you think he'll go? Or will he stay?
I know I've heard that, Bradley Beal, I guess he's got a house in LA right now, and everyone thinks that he's going to be at the Lakers. I personally think he is one of the teams is going to be looking at him between Clippers and Lakers. Clippers don't really have the money for him. Yeah. They'd have to finagle some other deal for it. And honestly, I just don't think that he is unless they get rid of Kuzma, Bill's not a good spot for LA right now.
So it would have to be a trade. It's not like, because the Lakers they'll have cap because they have 1-year deals.
Well, yeah. Well, Lakers have a lot of parts that they can move. I know they're getting rid of a lot of different contracts, but what the Lakers need is they need young talent. And Bill is good, but Bill is he's a giant question mark on a team where you already have a injury-prone AD. You have an aging LeBron. I just don't think Bill would be a great fit if you want some consistency. Honestly, I could see Bill going to Sacramento. I could see him going to Sacramento and fitting with the young team that they got there.
What about Golden State?
Golden State, I think that would be too much. I think that's too many guards. I just don't see Bill in a Laker uniform. Now I could be wrong on this, and it could be my bias. I don't want him with a Laker uniform, because I like his game. He's a bucket, but he's also a liability, and I don't really foresee him really being on the Lakers. Honestly, who I do think the Lakers should be looking at is Gallinari.
Yeah.
I think Gallinari, get rid of Green, get Gallinari in that spot, because Gallinari already likes to camp and shoot. Hey, you've got a big stretch four who can shoot the three, who is, that you're expecting him to be outside. So I think he would be a perfect fit for the Lakers.
What do you think, D? Where do you think Beal is going to go? Where do you think he's going to stay?
I think a great place for Beal would be Philly. I think Philly would be a good place for Beal. Boston would be a good place for. I don't know much. I wouldn't say so much Boston. I think Philly. The Lakers maybe, but I think I don't know. I don't know if Bill's play style would really mesh. I feel like it would take it wouldn't seem right because that's a big trade you got to do. You got to give up 3 players, even though they're shitty. You still got to give up a good amount of players and possibly a pick in order to get set trade going on, and with the way the Lakers are right now, they can't really afford to make a high risk high risk trade like that. Like, yeah, okay, cool, it's Bradley Beal, but ain't no telling what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
I think.
I think Bradley Beal to Denver, not Denver, but the Bucks.
Well, who you gonna give up? Middleton?
Middleton, DiVincenzo.
I give up Middleton right away.
Yeah, that's just a
Middleton, DiVincenzo.
You don't even have to
probably maybe a pick, and then a second round pick, and then call it good.
I think
Bam, you got Bradley Beal. You got the star that Giannis needs to feed him the ball. There you go. And then after that, the 2 years are up. If Giannis decides to sign a 2-year deal with the option, you got money left over to sign another star player. Nobody wants to play in Milwaukee, though. That's the big issue. Nobody wants to play there. So if he does leave, nobody can really be surprised. It's Milwaukee. Their biggest thing is cheese. And I don't know. If anything, I think the safest bet is for him to stay where he's at, because it just seems like right now all these other teams are just in either in a rebuilding stage. They're not. If you go to them, you're a contender. You're not a high favorite for the championship, or you're going to be the leader on a mediocre team. Like, I think if he goes to Sacramento, yeah, that's dope. But we've seen Beal shine. But who's to say he's really a leader? Like, you're the best player on a bunch of team with a bunch of scrubs. Like, who on the Wizards is really good? Like, when is the last time the Wizards have been talked about if it's not about Bradley Beal?
Or John
Like,
Wall.
I think it's what exactly, and that's my thing. Like, he's good, he's great, he's fantastic, but he's just fantastic. The Wizards outside of that aren't fantastic. So if he was a great leader, you make the other players around you great. That's literally one of the defining qualities of being a leader. And I don't know. I just think if he's going to stay anywhere, stay with the Wizards. But if you're going to go somewhere where your play style is going to thrive. Are you a system player? Are you a by the book? Like, how do you play? But I think if he goes anywhere, I think he should go to the Bucks. I think that's his safest bet. Keeps Giannis, that gives him his star player. And then, like Tony was saying with the whole contract thing, with the NBA renewing the TV deal, that's more money for you to play with to sign another player. So I think Milwaukee's his best bet.
I think he plays out his contract. They're not going to trade him until the last year. They're going to try to offer him a re-up. Him and John Wall are really boys. Like, it's ridiculous how close they are when the media makes it that they're not. Right? I was watching all the smoke with Bradley Beal and all that. And after I believe it was his mom who passed, John Wall drove Beal up there, and they went to the funeral together. Like, not just some regular friend does that, That means something special more. So I think they will. He's going to fulfill his contract. He's going to eventually, after he gets traded, because you don't want to lose him for nothing, but it will be his last year. He's going to be a free agent, and I could see 3 spots going. He's from the South. He went to University of Miami, or not University of Miami, University of Florida. I think Miami would be a spot. Another sidekick for Jimmy. If they don't get Giannis, obviously. I think Houston or Dallas could be one. And then I could one of the LA teams. Because that's like 2-3 years down the road. So, I just think he's probably going to stay there until his contract's done and just become a free agent, and then whatever's happening, I think Miami is the destination for him. I think he fits that team. Because Jimmy did his thing, right? But go-to scorer, I feel like Beal and Booker are in the same realm of, yeah, I can put up buckets, but my team still sucks. Right? Like, and both pretty much getting snubbed every year for All-Star. That's why I compare them like that, right? So, yeah, I think he fulfills his contract. But there's another interesting one where the contract's ridiculous. We already brought up his name, and that's Chris Paul. Right? Now, there's people saying, oh, he's going to New York. He don't want to go to New York. There's like, hey, he might stay in OKC. Maybe. I think OKC's rebuilding. They're going to try to get assets back. Try to get 4 or 5 more picks, right? And go from there. And what do you guys think about that? Like, everybody's talking about possibly reuniting in LA.
Well, before we get to that, can I talk one more thing about Bradley Beal?
Yeah, go ahead.
I honestly think that if Bradley Beal does go anywhere, it'll probably be Brooklyn.
Oof. I heard that. Yeah, I heard that too. Brooklyn.
I kind of think that, you see Kyrie Irving, he's going to come off of his injury. They're going to need another guard that can bring the ball and do all that with Kevin Durant and what's his name, the big dude.
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, those 4 together, man, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous team.
Well, but to get him, they have the trade assets because they have what's that one kid?
Well,
LeVert.
They got LeVert, Dinwiddie, Allen, and Prince.
You can even probably throw in Joe Harris.
Probably, but they can also throw in a pick.
Yeah.
And you throw those guys, get Bradley Beal, automatically you've got a team that can rival just about any team in the NBA.
Yeah. And it's New York. So
yeah.
Big
and,
one.
And cool. So I that's my thought on Beal. I wanted to throw that out there.
No, that makes sense. But what do you guys think about the Chris Paul situation? Because I think he has 2 or 3 years left? 2 years.
I think it's 2.
Yeah, he's got 2 years left.
It was 3, now it's 2.
I don't think he has much of a, this is all on OKC, and OKC is going to be looking for the best bang for their buck. I think honestly, New York probably has the best bang for buck for Chris Paul. You got Dennis Smith Jr., you've got Bobby Portis, and so I kind of think that you put a package around with those guys there. I think they'd have something to build on there in OKC. But unless it's a title contender, because I know the Lakers are looking for a point guard, and Chris Paul would be a great fit, but his contract isn't.
No.
Yeah. 2 years too early. 2 years too late.
Yeah.
They would have got him right before when he was in Houston. Perfect timing, but
yeah. I don't know. I think he ends his career in OKC. Or his contract at least. And then he signs like a 1 year or whatever. Because he's on his.
I think that's what the Lakers are waiting for. After his contract's up, they're going to get Chris Paul because they might lose Rondo this year. That's another player that's been in trade talks.
Well, you talk about the Clippers going after Rajon Rondo.
I don't think Rondo's going to do it.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see Rondo leaving the Lakers to go to the locker room across the hall.
That makes sense.
It really doesn't make sense to it, especially considering he's not a season, you're not going to have him pretty much all season until you get to playoffs, because really he's conserving himself till playoffs. So he's going to be looking for someone who's more of a title contender. And where else better to go than to the team you're already at?
I want to go back to Brooklyn real quick. What your thoughts are on this? Because Stephen A. Smith really went at him. No coaching experience. Me and Dee talked about this before. With Steve Nash getting that Brooklyn job. What are your thoughts on that? Because he took a lot of heat, being like, "Hey, you have a coach," but he was like, "Hey, I've been a coach for 20 years on the floor," right?
Yeah, honestly, I think there's Stephen A. Smith.
Kind of unfair.
It was very unfair. I think he's biting into the social, culture right now, and I'm all for equality.
Yeah.
But it needs to be equal.
Yeah.
And in order for it to be equal, you can't just hire someone based on the color of their skin. And you can't discriminate against someone based on the color of their skin. And he was doing exactly what he didn't want to be done to other black coaches. He was discriminating against a white coach for getting this position. And the alternatives weren't great. I mean, we're looking at they were looking at Tyrone Lue, who was, I think he's overrated as a coach, but they were looking at Tyrone Lue. They're looking at what's his name, the commentator, former coach for the Lakers or the Warriors.
What's his name?
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson. They were looking at Mark Jackson.
He deserves
Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson. He doesn't get enough credit for what he did with the Warriors. However, he also stunted the Warriors that year that he was their coach. And so I really, Steve Nash, he made sense because, number one, he worked with Kevin Durant. He helped Kevin Durant at Golden State. Number two, he was a floor general, which is something that Brooklyn's going to need.
Development for sure.
Right. And number three, he has a basketball mind already. And I think they were kind of looking at mimicking what Golden State did with Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr had a basketball mind already.
Yeah.
And they're looking at Steve Nash and going, "Hey, we've got a better player in Nash than Kerr. We've got two great guys that can be our bedrock. We can basically create Golden State East. And having Nash here, he can be our Kerr. He can be that guy." And so I think it was a great hire, even without no experience. I think it was a great hire.
And I think also going back to the Steve Nash of what I think helped him also be a great passer was his mind for not just the basketball game, it was the soccer game too. That just reading things in feels like slow motion on the soccer field and basketball court of everybody moving. Yeah, it's less people, different instead of passing, you're kicking, but it's the same mind, right? And I think offensively, it's going to be a really good team, right? Offensively, not just the players, but his play style is going to be up tempo. He already said. Defensively, it's going to be interesting how they do that. I mean, you do have DeAndre Jordan as your anchor and all that. But D, what do you think about the hire and everything going on with that?
I think
coaches too.
Based on Steve Nash's IQ alone, just from being a point guard, the MVP and things of that nature, I think it honestly it'll work out for the in the long run. It really what it boils down to me is how are the players going to react to it? With the whole thing that Kyrie said, we don't need a coach and it kind of reminds me of every team he's been on since he's left Cleveland. It's just it's always been something. Excuse me. It's always been something. That there's always some type of narrative that follows Kyrie. Like you're with Brooklyn. Oh well, I need more help. I need star players. Blah blah blah. This that and third. Like bro, like work with what you have, and then you say things like you're already insulting the coach, saying you don't need a coach. I'm pretty sure if basketball had no coaches, it would be a totally different sport.
Let's talk about
what I'm saying?
His best coach so far. I mean, not even talking about Duke, of course. Coach K is a really, but in Boston with Brad Stevens is a top coach in the league, and to kind of be like, not like, I don't know, that was kind of saying you don't need a coach. Like, no, bro, you need a coach. Like,
you clearly need a coach and a new mindset. Like, he's just a team cancer. And I feel like Steve Nash is going to do just like Steve Kerr. I think he's going to do a fantastic job. I honestly do believe he's going to do a fantastic job as the coach for the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like KD's going to fall in line. Everybody's going to fall in line. I just feel like his biggest issue, and like I said, we haven't seen Brooklyn play as a team, as a whole. We haven't seen none of that. Yeah. So when we finally do get to see it, honestly, we'll know when we see it. But just from my perspective, I think Steve Nash is going to do his job. It's just a matter of is everybody else going to fall in line.
Let's talk about Carmelo. His resurgent year. How he performed. It was obviously a one-year deal. Now, we already know Portland's going to offer him probably another one-year deal. Now, do you think other teams have changed their thought of Carmelo?
That boy going to the Lakers. That boy Carmelo's going to the Lakers. Watch. He's going to go to the Lakers.
Team Banana Boat?
He's going to go to the Lakers. I think he's going to go to the Lakers. I'm going to let me finish. I'm going to tell you why he's going to go to the Lakers. He's always wanted to play with LeBron, and we know Chris Paul, LeBron, Dwayne, like they all came, like they're all buddies. They're all, and we need somebody like Carmelo. Lakers need somebody like Carmelo. We need a guy, LeBron's tired. AD's in there. We don't got nobody to really lead the floor. And we know Carmelo's ISO basketball. That's his biggest strength and his weakness at the same time. He'll come out there, give you a quick, 10, 15. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. Or it's been, 5-6 minutes. Throw LeBron back in there and take that 10, 15 and turn it into 30. Because we all know LeBron can turn it on at any given time when he wants to. But I think Carmelo's going to end up with the Lakers. He's going to the Lakers. I think that's the best place for him to go. Championship contending team. That's how you end the Farewell World Tour. Get your ring? Hey, I'm retired. I'm done. Because basically all Portland was to me is basically showing, hey, I need a raise. You guys counted me out in Houston. You guys counted me out when I was with OKC. This is me showing you, hey, look, I can accept a smaller role. Whether it's 10, 15 here, I can accept a smaller role. So if I can accept a smaller role, what's the best place to have a small role at? A championship team. Kyle Kuzma literally got a ring for doing absolutely nothing. He did zero. So I think the best place for Carmelo is there. You trade Danny Green, you trade Kyle Kuzma, you get Carmelo, and you use the rest of that money to allocate to bring as many guys as you can back.
I was one of those guys that said, do not bring Carmelo in to the Lakers when they were talking about it. And then I changed my mind. I started watching some of Carmelo's videos, and I started having the same mindset like D. I started thinking, he would be a great shot in the arm for like 10 to 12 minutes. You put him in there, and like when LeBron's off or when AD's off and you need another scorer, you're not depending on him. He's just put in there to do one thing. You get the ball, put it in the hoop.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if you look at Carmelo's career, that's all he's ever done, not to cut you off. But if you look at Carmelo's career, he's good for 2-3 quarters. Or, the first half, that second half, he's going to be terrible. He's a slasher. He's like you said, he just comes in and cuts in.
Yeah, I gave him credit when it came to when they needed a bucket, and he was spotting up, knocking down threes. Like,
Yeah, if he can give you a solid 12 to 14,
yeah.
that's good.
No, when he's in the post, he's unstoppable. When he
Yeah,
gets
you get a
in the post,
solid 12 to 14 points, he's good.
yeah. And I think like he's re-signing with Portland. I just have I think yeah, his LA, New York, whatever. Like, you could look at Brooklyn, you could look at LA, but I just feel like he's he's like, hey, I was out, no one wanted me. This team gave me a chance. I just have a feeling that him and Dame Dalla have that chemistry, and like I think he's gonna resign. I don't know. I just have that feeling, just like they were the only ones who gave him an opportunity. You know, that's what it is. I could, and they already have a lot of big guys on LA, so that's why I don't see him going to the Lakers, right? But for just an energy boost, get some buckets, of course he's there, right? Now let's go to the draft, where the Warriors are now fully healthy, and they
Don't be talking too soon. We ain't seen them boys play.
no, I'm talking about what Steve Kerr was on All the Smoke, and he's like, yeah, Clay's actually shooting and running and all that stuff better than he was before. It's crazy how the medical treatments has come, but they're healthy, and they have the number 2 overall pick. Now, what do they do? Are they going to draft that top center from Memphis, which I think they should do, or do they trade that and try to get another star caliber player?
We're talking
LaMelo
about
Ball.
we're talking about the Warriors, right?
Yeah, number 2 overall pick.
I think they go for that one guy from Tel Aviv, Denny Ajavida or something like that. He's like 6'9". I think he really impressed them, because really you look at the Warriors, they've got Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, and who else? Just
Yeah.
really, they don't have anything else. You need to start filling that with some guys that can do things, some specialists, some players. And what this guy does is he can provide them a kind of a exciting spark off the bench. He can provide them with something almost like what's his name? He was with them when they won their championship.
Sean Livingston?
Not Livingston.
Harrison Barnes?
Harrison Barnes. Almost like Harrison Barnes. He's a taller, longer guy who can shoot the ball, but also kind of play inside a little bit. He can do a little bit of everything. And I think that's the type of player that the Warriors are looking for. And honestly, I think he would be the best fit for him.
Good, D?
I'm probably gonna get crucified for this, but I don't really pay too much. I don't watch college basketball, so as far as the draft concerns, only player that I know is, like, I think it was James Wiseman.
Yeah, he's a kid from Memphis. That dude's ridiculous, bro.
Okay, then that's who you're referring to. James Wiseman and LaMelo Ball. Those are the only 2 players I really know that are in the draft. I don't want to see the Warriors get anybody. I hope whoever they get severely injured. I do not like the Warriors. They have the worst fans. Their fan base is so annoying. You ask a Warriors fan, do you know who Earl Stevens is? Oh yeah, he used to play center. He used to play center back in '69. It's like Earl Stevens is E40. Come on, like they're just the worst. They're the worst fan base ever.
Hey,
All jokes aside, I honestly think that if they do, they shouldn't trade that first pick. Whatever player they get, that is a perfect system for any rookie to fall into. They play the best team basketball in the NBA. Before they got injured, they played the best team basketball in the NBA. And I feel like that's when they won that first championship and everybody was this whole strength in numbers motto. It's 100% true. They won that championship playing team basketball. And I feel like I said, any rookie that's coming into the NBA, I feel like those are the best arms to get, that's the best place for you to go is the Warriors.
I really
It's not a Go ahead. I was done.
Wiseman is the best player in the draft. I know LaMelo Ball he's nice and stuff like that, but I think just raw talent, just a freak defensively, and his speed for a big man. Devon, have you seen James Wiseman play?
I haven't. I'm not a big college guy either.
Basketball myself, I actually prefer watching college basketball more than pro basketball because I like the rivalries. But seeing James Wiseman reminded me of a lesser version of a Shaq from LSU, in the fact of how he moved on the court, sprint speed from end to end. Not as powerful, obviously, right? But very similar. Can't really shoot free throws, but you can work on that. And I think that's what really they're missing in Golden State is a true power center, right? Who's going to give you 20 and 12, 20 and 13. I see James Wiseman. Think about who coached him. Penny Hardaway. He's already taught him from high school and college. All 4 years in high school and college. So he's already taught him things of the NBA as well. So that's one thing he has coming into the league that others don't, right? So I think that would be a perfect opportunity. And then just lastly on the draft, let's talk about LaMelo Ball, bro, because we cannot not talk about the Ball brothers here, right? So I think LaMelo Ball is the best ball of them all. But to be honest, I think what's going to happen because of the father. What's his first name? I forgot his first name. LeVar. I think that's going to impact his draft position.
I don't think so. I see him going number one to Minnesota.
You think he's going?
I think his dad learned his lesson this time around. I don't think it's not gonna be like it was last time, because if you look at how it was last time, you never heard Lonzo talk. You only heard his dad. And like this whole time, Lamar, so many L's. The whole time, the Lamar, LaGello, Lavancier, Lacavassier. But no, to piggyback off of what he said, I don't think it's going to turn out the way we think it is. I think he'll do just fine in the NBA, if not better than his brother. Because in reality, I don't think Lonzo Ball was a bad player.
They keep it in their mind, too. That's my only thing. I don't think it'll be the top 5, but it will go down a little bit. Because
I don't think that's going to bother.
I see him going number one to Minnesota. I think like you said, D, I think he's the best ball. Or that might have been you, Tony.
That was Tony.
Yeah, but honestly, I wish you can put Lonzo and LaMelo together to make one player.
Oh my God.
Because Lonzo's defense and his court vision, along with LaMelo's swagger and his shooting ability, honestly would make the perfect player. I think they would be incredible. Now, I think he's going to do well. I don't see him being a superstar, but I do see him being a decent player in the NBA.
For years.
I think I see him kind of being if Lonzo is like a Rondo, just kind of say if
Right.
Lonzo is like a Rondo, I'd put like LaMelo like a
Drew Holiday,
yeah, like a
like Drew
that's
Holiday
perfect.
on
Like,
steroids.
Now, I was
Yeah.
thinking more of a Trey Young when it comes because LaMelo doesn't have that.
No.
Listen,
Get your no button out. Get your no button out.
listen,
Get your no button out.
Okay, listen,
Nobody
listen.
likes Trey Young.
Before I press it, what I'm saying is shooting ability, okay? When it comes how far he can shoot, he can pass too. Let's not forget LaMelo can pass. He can get those assists. And he's been playing pro already, okay, in Australia. It's the
Australia pro.
I know.
Andrew Bogut was killing it in Australia too. So I mean,
all I'm saying is he has a leg up on others where it was just in the United States, right? But what I'm saying is lack of defense can shoot and pass. That's all I'm saying. The only thing is he's a lot taller because he's what, like
6'9".
6'9" now? Damn. Yeah. So I can see.
Well, he's listed at 6'9". He's probably a cool 6'7".
I don't think he'll be the star that Trey Young is, but what I'm saying is shooting ability and passing skills. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying.
Yeah, I the Drew Holiday comparison, honestly, to me, I think fits him because he's not with the defense, but as far as the player caliber.
That's Drew Holiday's game, though. He's one of the two-way.
He's a great two-way point guard, but I'm talking about caliber. Caliber, like you looking at Trey Young is a tiny version of Devin Booker. You know, he's just a mini Devin Booker who can score, doesn't really play defense because he can't. He's going to get bodied by everyone, and he's fast. But really, I mean, that's who he is.
Right.
And he's a star. You know, Trey Young is a star. I don't see LaMelo being a star. I see him more as kind of a second tier Drew Holiday type player.
So let's go to the last question. Okay. Now, this was the first time since 1988 that the Lakers and Dodgers won the championship. 32 years in the same year. There's also it's a weird year because the Lakers and Dodgers won this a championship in the same month as well. Now, what was the bigger impact on Los Angeles in your eyes? Was it a Lakers championship or was it a Dodgers championship? Well, I'm gonna go for. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I think the Lakers championship meant a lot because the passing of Kobe and everything. But I think the Dodgers meant a lot more to LA because this is their third time in 4 years going to the World Series. The other two losses in 17 and 18, there's documented cheating. Okay? Where the Astros, we all know about the Astros and all that. The Red Sox, during regular season, didn't find anything in the postseason. They didn't make it last year, and then they won it this year. The first time in 32 years. Like, they don't, in LA, they don't have, their Lakers store is in Staples Center, right? In Burbank, they actually have a Dodgers store. Like, the Dodgers are really big in LA. ever since they got to LA from coming from what do you call it, Brooklyn, right? So they've been around a lot longer. So there's just as many fans, right? I think going through that, America's pastime, all that, how they call it America's pastime, right? I just think this meant so much because we were there consistently, and talk about having so much pressure lifted, because almost every year for the past 4 or 5 years, you're counted as the best team that couldn't do it. So I think there was more pressure on them than the Lakers. What do you think?
I think, well, first of all, let me just say I'm a Giants fan, so to be able to talk about the Dodgers is making me visibly sick. I can't. I loved the fact that the Dodgers couldn't do it. What is it? You said their fourth time. Third time.
Third time in 4 years we've been to the World Series.
So the last 2 times, both of those, honestly, and I'm not going to even get into the whole Astros and everything, but honestly, I a lot of that was their management. Yes. Their team management that
we almost lost
failed
it this
them.
year because of it. I think they were to be gone.
Yeah, but also Kershaw wasn't the greatest either, and I think, and you can't put it all on a guy who only pitches once a series once or twice in the series, but if I'm going to have to say what is a weightier championship, I'm going to have to go for the championship that was 32 years coming. And, I have to look at the Dodgers getting that. And how exciting it is, to think the Lakers won their championship for Kobe.
Yeah.
Magic having a part of putting together the Lakers
and Dodgers
team, and having a part of the Dodgers. It's such an amazing thing, and I think ultimately, and knowing Kobe was a big Dodgers fan too. Mm-hmm. It's just exciting that both of these teams were able to do that. But if I'm looking at what was more weighty, I think I have to go for the Dodgers.
It's funny? Lakers win their 17th title, right? The Dodgers just won their 7th. And that equals 24. How about that?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. You look at Magic Johnson. So it's 32 years.
Yeah.
32 years.
That's Magic Johnson.
So that's Magic Johnson's number. 10 years for the Lakers, which is Kobe Bryant's number. In Team USA. Yeah. And there's a lot of coincidences in that. Yeah, little things that we can attribute to that, but it's definitely got to be and then they win in the 10th month.
Here's another thing it's going to be easier for the Lakers to repeat more than the Dodgers, because it's just statistically harder to repeat in baseball more than basketball. It's just, you have to have the right pitches, the right hitting, it's just so much comes into it. So obviously I'm hoping for another championship. We have the players to do it. But you look at the San Diego is coming. Atlanta is coming. We were down 3-1 in the conference championship. Here's my thing. In the World Series, if you don't take out Blake Snell, we lose Game 6. And then COVID happened with Justin Turner, so who knows when Game 7 would have happened. So it's just crazy things went right. It was this time of the year for LA. And what are your thoughts, D? I know you're not that big in baseball, but just hearing what me and Dr. Ortiz just went over, what do you think?
Like I told you that one day, man. There's something about a girl in a Dodgers jersey, man. It just turns me on, man. It gets my gears turning, man. But yeah, congratulations to the LA Dodgers. 32 years is a long time not to get anything. You know, some people be married 32 years and don't get nothing. You know, divorce, maybe some alimony. I don't know.
Hey, at least it's not like the Cubs where it was 108 years.
Oh my God, I remember that year, bro. People would not shut up.
Because they beat the
my
Dodgers
goodness.
in the NLCS, and then they won the chip. So
That
even
year
though
I
they
do
beat the
remember.
Dodgers, I was going for the Cubs because I was like, all right, end it. Like, go win that shit.
Yeah, I think the Lakers personally, just because I'm such, a Kobe fan and just a Lakers fan, and this whole run was almost identical. Was it exactly identical to Kobe's run in his last ring?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he beat Orlando in 6 games, I think it was. No, he beat him in
Yeah.
5. But it was like the same
The-
year as LeBron's year or something like that.
And the teams that he played were the same. You know, he went through
Denver.
Denver and
Portland.
or Utah. Oh no, Portland. Was it Portland, Denver,
No, Portland, Houston.
and
Portland,
Houston, Denver.
yeah, there we go.
And then
Yeah,
one in Orlando. That's what it was.
yeah, it was the same run completely.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't.
So I'm
rocking with the Lakers.
I got a question for you, Devon. Staying on the baseball topic, because this has never really happened. Obviously, the NL having the DH. Do you think that stays?
I don't think so. I think this is it.
Because I think that was a big contributor to the Dodgers winning.
Oh, it definitely was. He was a huge.
We basically could have it. If our team faced an all-star team, it's up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, having the DL, what it does is it almost creates a different. You know, it's like a trump card you can use whenever you need it, and I think one of the reasons why I don't think the NL is going to keep it is because baseball is heavily based on tradition, and
That's another thing that they need to change to get more.
Yeah, I think they're gonna say, hey, that worked for this year because this year was different, but overall, no, I just don't see them keeping it.
Right. I think they should, just because viewers like runs, but they also like pitching, and like this year pitching wise in the play. I think they should keep this playoff format though. I like, because this was the biggest playoff format in playoff history. Like basically, the first round or whatever, right, was like 3 games, best out of 3, and then best out of 5 is 7, 7, 7, right? But like having 4 rounds in baseball is unheard of. And I think they should keep it because it was probably one of the most competitive playoffs for a while. Just like the NBA was.
Yeah. I think when you begin to put the teams together in this format, it allows for the coaches to be a little more strategic in some of the plays that they run and some of the substitutions and different things like that, and especially when it comes with the pitching, figuring out who's going to pitch when, and you're going to lead off with your you're going to lead off with Kershaw. How are you going to do that? And I thought that was probably the best aspect of this format. However, like I said, baseball is steeped in tradition. They don't like to change much. I don't expect them to change much when it comes to some of their rules. And in fact, some of the rules, especially that they don't have to change. And that would be definitely why I don't think they'll be changing much.
Yeah. Well, and that commissioner, one of the worst there is ever. So.
Good old Bud Selig.
Bud Selig. Worse than Bud Selig. But, I mean, that's it. Unless you have some other questions for Dr. Ortiz, dude.
How do I become a doctor? No, I'm just kidding. But all in all, man, that's good. I think we should definitely do a part 2, and we all take our time to go do a little bit of research as far as like the trades and the draft is concerned, so we can delve deeper into that topic. I think that would be dope. Just
Oh yeah.
I think we should talk about trades that can potentially change some of these teams.
Mm-hmm. There's a kid on YouTube. I can't remember his name right now, and I'd really like to remember it so I could be like, hey, I shouted you out in my video. You should check it out. But I think his name is Kenny Speaks or Kenny for Reals or something like that. But there's a writer for the NBA Insider, I think it is, that does these like all 30 teams and these crazy trades. And I think that'll be dope if we did like a reaction video to like each trade. I think that would be dope.
Yeah, we could do that.
Well,
Yeah,
sounds good. I'm always down for it.
I love the topic.
Just go on because they already got the packages set up. Not to cut you off, but they already got the packages set up and everything, so we just can give our input on it. It's really dope.
So Devon, I'm trying to get Andy to come on. I'm trying to get Andy on here.
D, you would hate it. He just the whole thing would be Warriors, Warriors, Warriors.
Oh my God, I leave. I just like D has left the chat. I'm out.
No, like remember that night we were in the parking lot at a pho restaurant, I think it was, and I don't know if you were there, but
I didn't go with you guys.
it was me, Andy, Mike, and someone else, and they tried to tell me that Draymond Green was a better fit, than Kevin Durant, and I said, what are you smoking? Are you smoking like heroin, crack, cocaine? What are you doing? Because that's ridiculous.
Are you freebasing?
Eating and talking about this for 30, 40 minutes in the restaurant. And then when we got out, we kept talking about it for another half an hour just outside in the parking lot.
Yeah, me and Andy had our own debate on whether or not Draymond was a better fit than Kevin Durant. And I think that is a horrible. I mean, there's no comparison.
No.
I mean, no smart person would ever say.
But that's the Bay Area. That's the Bay Area people. How many were?
Don't put that on the Bay Area. The Bay Area is a great place. Those are stupid people you are referring to. They are not smart.
Well, tell you.
That's just dumb. Dumb is universal.
Half of these Warriors fans now used to be Lakers.
Are dumb.
No, they're Lakers fans. Then they went over to the Warriors when they winning, and are now probably.
No, they were never Lakers fans. You know why? Because Lakers fans aren't dumb. We might say some things that seem a little far-fetched. They might seem a little bit illogical, but they're never stupid. They're wild. They're far-fetched, but they're never stupid.
Hella bandwagon.
Warrior fans say a lot of crazy shit, man.
Yeah, they do. But go ahead, D. End it.
All right, y'all. It's your man D. Here with my man T. With Dr. Ortiz. This is Saturday Morning Traffic, the greatest podcast, not the latest podcast. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe, dislike, you know what I'm saying? Leave a comment. We let our haters be our motivators, this, that, and the third. We're going to try to keep these videos coming. You know what I'm saying? Keep y'all entertained during these pressing times. I don't know if there's another word for it. I don't got my dictionary on hand, but that's beside the point. I want to show some big love to Dr. Ortiz for coming through, you know what I'm saying, giving us his opinions, you know, his views on things. I don't know shit about baseball, but next time I come back, I might be an expert. You never know. But, yeah, man, y'all make sure y'all go show some love to my mans, you know what I'm saying, all that good stuff. And it's a wrap, like a packed lunch, baby.
All right, dudes.